Welcome to our web conference. Today is Friday, February 5th, 2016. Thank you for taking the time out of your schedule to join me today. And for my virtual listeners, I welcome you and appreciate your interest in this web conference as well. The purpose of today's workshop is to look at the quality of online courses, what can be done to enhance online courses, and the use and benefits of blended learning. So the learning objectives of this web conference are, after this presentation, you should be able to explain the attitudes of both faculty and technology administrators about the quality of online courses. You should be able to list 2 ways educational technology is improving the effectiveness of online courses, and explain how blended learning is improving the effectiveness of courses. So since you are all HR educators, how would you rate the quality of online courses? Now, you could do this in the text chat, which is located in the lower left box of your screen. So would you say that the quality is high? Would you say that the quality is low? Okay, Alyssa believes that the quality is high. And for my virtual listeners, this is something that you should think about, and you could include this in your weekly summary of this web conference. Okay, you both said hi. Now, in regards to a face-to-face or a seated class versus the online courses, do you feel the quality is equivalent? And once again, if you could use the text chat on the bottom left-hand corner, that'd be great. I can see you're both typing, so I'll give you a minute. Interesting. Alyssa believes that a face-to-face approach is higher quality than an online course. And Judy believes that the quality is better in a face-to-face. If you could both just briefly tell me why. Is it due to just the interaction? Is it due to just the being in the room together? What is the difference that you think the face-to-face is better quality? And for my virtual listeners as well, it'd be interesting to get your feedback as well. So once again, if you could make sure that you include this in your summary as well. Okay, so Judy says it's because it is more structural. And Alyssa feels that the interactions can focus better on the topic at hand. Interesting. Okay, so we're going to actually look at the results of a survey conducted by Inside Higher Ed. They conduct an annual survey that actually looks at the attitudes of faculty and technology administrators on the issues of technology and courses, particularly online courses. So we're going to look at some of their key results. And the actual link for you is listed on the bottom of the screen, and I will also post that in our pilot site as well. So before we get started about the actual results of the survey, asking you as a faculty member, do you feel the use of educational technology in the classroom has, and is it A, led to significantly improved student outcomes, and here we're talking about learning outcomes, somewhat improved learning outcomes, which would be B, or do you think it has not improved student outcomes? So let me just change over the polling, and then you can actually type in your letter. So using that 4th box, if you're not familiar, there's a letter A in it now. If you could just drop that down and pick whatever letter you would like to respond with. Okay, so we can see that both of you have selected A, which is kind of interesting. And then, do you believe that interactions with students are a good indicator of the quality of an online course? So A, and let me just clear this out first for you. And is it A, they are, B, no they're not, or yes, but not the only indicator? And once again, you're using your polling options. So once again, if we look at your responses, you're both indicating C, which means that they are, but they're not the only one. Okay, so then let's look at some of the results and see kind of where you fared in regards to the survey. So there are some key results where faculty and technology administrators actually are in agreement. They found that most faculty members, about 50%, and tech administrators, closer to 60%, believe that the use of educational technology had led to somewhat improved student outcomes. So this is interesting because you both said significantly improved and the bulk of the respondents in the survey kind of said somewhat improved. In addition, 63% of instructors and 84% of technology administrators said that gains in student learning have been justified by the college spending on educational technology. And obviously, this can be a large expense to any university or college. In addition, faculty members and tech administrators are both most likely to say interactions between faculty and students are a very important indicator, but once again, not the only indicator. Other things that they looked at in this survey, and you both kind of indicated this with your choices, that it shouldn't be the only one, are things like the reputation of the institution, if it was accredited, if the online program had been certified independently, if it led to academic credit, and so forth. So do you think, and let me clear out our polling first, that online courses can achieve the similar student learning outcomes compared to an in-person class or a seated class? And your choices are listed for you. And Judy, do you have an answer? Okay. This is kind of interesting. Judy said that they cannot achieve the same learning outcomes, and Alyssa was not sure about this, and we'll talk about this in a moment. And let me clear out the polling. And do you believe that online courses are of lower quality when compared to a seated course in the ability to answer students' questions and deliver material to meet those learning objectives? So once again, if you can just select either A or B for this one. Okay, so you both said B, that actually the online courses are not of lower quality when compared. So this is kind of interesting as well. Okay, so before we kind of address your responses in regards to the survey, there were some areas where the faculty and the technology administrators did disagree. And one of the big issues where they actually disagreed was on the question that you were asked about if the online courses could achieve the student learning that were equivalent to those in a seated course. And over 50% of faculty do not believe that this can be achieved. And yet the tech administrators, over 60%, agreed that they could be achieved in terms of a seated class in comparison to an online course. So this is kind of interesting. In addition, tech administrators are more likely to view their institutions as being supportive in terms of online learning. Faculty disagreed with this. And faculty members generally believe that the online courses are of lower quality when compared to a seated course in the ability to answer student questions and deliver the material to meet the learning objectives. Yet tech administrators believe that this is not so. So that's kind of interesting as well. Okay, so in regards to educational technology, faculty can use lots of different things. They use learning management systems, such as one that we're using currently. This could be Pilot, this could be Blackboard, this could be WebCT. They can use blogs, wikis, social media, even smartphones or mobile technology. So using the chat in the bottom of your screen on the left-hand side, what types of technology are you currently using in your courses? And secondly, are you finding any value in this technology? And for this, you're actually going to use the text chat below. So once again, what types of technologies are you using in your courses? And if you're not using any, that's perfectly fine. And if you are using any technologies, are you finding value in them? And I see you're both typing in, so that's great. And once again, for my virtual listeners, if you could think about this and also share with myself as well as the other participants what technologies you have experience with, and also if you're finding that they're adding value to your courses. So Alyssa has used Google Classroom, which is the learning management system, in her smartphone, and she does actually feel that there's value in the use of these educational technologies. And Judy has done blogs and some social media. And Judy, if you could just follow up and answer the second part, do you think it's actually adding value? So what's interesting in regards to educational technology and the effectiveness of online education is really what the research is showing is that faculty would be more open to use these educational tools that are available to us when we really have documented what their educational value would be. So research is desperately needed in these areas in terms of these specific educational tools. But one possible bright spot is the use of social media and highly mobile devices. We are finding that this can create and sustain learning communities, but more definitive research is needed. This is pretty interesting because it is related to that social presence that we associate with the community of inquiry model that we discussed in our last web conference. So it's kind of an exciting area. What the research does demonstrate is that truly the importance of the instructional design is really having a huge impact on learning outcomes. So the educational tools are simply just that, tools, but it's really about the design. So blended learning. So have either one of you ever taught a blended learning course? And if you could just respond yes or no in the text check box, that'd be great. So this is kind of a newer approach, and what this basically is a combination of face-to-face and online activities. So it's kind of what we do in the face-to-face course, and then what you might do online. It's kind of combining those together to kind of get the bang for your buck in a sense, to get kind of that optimal benefits from each one. So the notion with blended learning is that we know it has a high potential to serve the goals of higher order learning and thinking, which is what we want as faculty. And it does offer a range of possibilities. You can do individual activities, you can do collaborative activities. It does help with greater interactions between the instructors as well as the students. But what's really interesting with online courses is that this blended learning approach is really giving a lot of opportunity to faculty. So in regards to blended learning, when we talk about an online course, we're really talking about that asynchronous and those synchronous activities. So once again, just to go with definition, synchronous is obviously what we're doing right now. So I have Alyssa and Judy in real time, and we're chatting back and forth and having a synchronous conversation. Asynchronous would be my virtual listeners. So obviously you're interested in this topic, but you're not able to join us here at this particular time, but you're still part of this community that's taking this web conference. So what this is doing is taking those two approaches and really trying to benefit from each one of them. And there are a lot of opportunities, as we know from Power and Vaughn and their research. So in regards to their early research, it really is providing opportunity for dialogue, and it lowers the attrition rate. And this has been a problem with online courses about people dropping them. So the notion here is by combining these two approaches in this blended learning, people are getting a greater sense of community, but it's also allowing for reflection on your own without being intimidated by the actual presence of people maybe in a seated classroom would do. In addition, it is giving some flexibility, and it is sustaining the community of learners. And they actually have a study out there, which is quite interesting, where they looked at a simply online course and a blended course, and they found that the grades were identical, but they actually found in the blended course that it was a higher perception of learning, greater satisfaction, and those elements were present from the community of inquiry, which once again we discussed in our previous web conference. So it's kind of an exciting time right now in higher ed because this is a really great option. And one thing we strive as faculty is to make sure that people that begin our course are going to complete our course, and we're actually seeing higher completion rates in this blended approach, and that's pretty exciting. So I'm not sure if any of you would ever consider using such an approach in your courses, this blended learning. What do you think? Would you give it a try? Are you intrigued? And once again, if you could use the chat at the bottom of the screen. So then that leads us to kind of think about this option. So what I would ask you to do is to take one of your developed online courses and really think about and reflect how you would make this into a blended course. I would ask you to post your reflection under your name in the discussion section of our course site in Pilot. And then I would ask you to read at least two other classmates' reflection and post some constructive feedback to them. And also you will be receiving feedback as well. And that would be due in 1 week from today. So as the research continues to grow about the benefits of blended learning, you really may want to consider this approach in your seated courses, but probably more importantly in your online courses. Garrison, in his book, e-learning, predicts that the blended learning will become a dominant approach to teaching and learning in higher education. So given that there's positive research about blended learning, once again, you may want to give it some thought. Okay, so I'll just ask if anyone has any questions or any kind of closing thoughts, because this will conclude our workshop. I want to thank you for your time and for your interest. And just lastly, these are the references of the works that were used or cited throughout our time together. So once again, I thank you for joining me, and I hope that this has been a valuable experience for your future online courses and your future education. Thank you.